Hello, my name is Huron Zashni, and this is Subunit 3.3 Developmental Topics for EEC 3009. As a future early childhood educator, it is definitely one of my privileges to be able to work with children that speak a second language at home, and so I've decided to highlight a few of those key topics here in this post. As an early childhood educator, I think it's so important to understand the individual child's needs. Just because they speak a different language at home does not mean that they're not capable of achieving the same goals and capabilities as a regular, English-speaking child. It just means that their language that they speak at home is different from the one that's spoken in the classroom. And there's not really anything wrong with that. It's just important for the teacher to understand that and appreciate that. The teacher's responsibility is also to be mindful of the child and the culture that they bring. All the cultures that children are representing from their different backgrounds are important pieces to making the classroom community feel safe and to be diverse. And how do they create that inclusive environment that allows all the children to, be who they are freely. It's important to be responsive and knowledgeable when you do have a child that speaks a different language in your classroom. It's important to maintain culturally appropriate curriculum. Some cultures do not celebrate certain holidays or do not recognize certain times of the year, and it's important to keep that in mind as an instructor to make sure that all the curriculum that's being presented is something that all the children can benefit from and is culturally appropriate for all the children. In the video, or Learning English Along with the Home Language, Asman Yaz talks about the importance of allowing a child to first acquire their native language at home, and then they take that skill and are able to acquire a second language, and that acquisition happens in those early years, like from birth through age 7 is when the brain is the most capable of acquiring a second language, and it's so important to foster that growth rather than think that there's something wrong with learning a second language, which research has shown there's definitely not anything wrong with that. As far as some of the methods and styles that I would personally use to promote learning and development, it's always my goal to provide all sorts of opportunities for learning that are developmentally appropriate and that stimulate the growth in all the children, not just the ones that can speak English or speak English at home. It's important for the child to know that they are allowed to speak their native language at home, but when they're in school they have to try to speak English and learn English so that they can take their English language skills into their elementary years. And as far as my promise to maintain respect and commitment to the children, I think it's important that every child have the same opportunity to learn and to grow, as well as right along with their typically developing peers or their English-speaking peers. The curriculum and the classroom environment and the other children and the culture within the classroom all play an important factor into how that translates out. It's okay to ask parents to come in and volunteer, and it's okay for other children to hear different languages in the classroom because that exposes them to the diverse languages that are around them, so that they have those experiences they can take with them. It's so important to me that children know that their culture, their background, and the people that are around them outside of school are an important part of their environment, and they can bring that with them to the classroom, and the other children can make them feel safe and welcome even if English is not their first language. I'm looking forward to having experiences like this in my future classrooms. As a person that speaks different languages, it's really important for me to show children how dynamic it is when there are different cultures and languages represented within a classroom, and how interesting and exciting that can be for all the kids.